Hello, you beautiful people. So I am here at my little therapy clinic, and it is gonna be my last session of this therapy experience with my therapist. And I kind of just wanted to make a video talking about my experience and if my mindset has changed, the goods, bads, cons, pros. If you have not watched my first video before I even had my first therapy session, kind of talking about how I felt about therapy and all of that stuff, go check that out and then come over here to watch my new and improved mindset and opinion on therapy. I just want to dive in and talk about everything that has happened throughout my therapy experience and if I thought it was beneficial and stuff like that. So this is my last therapy session, but not like in total. For me personally, I feel like I'm always going to need therapy. But for this clinic, it's like a short-term therapy, so it's usually like about a year. So it's almost been a year. I feel like there has been a lot of positives. I think there's like a stigma around therapy where a lot of people think it's a scam. People don't think it actually works, and I just think it's on the person. So if the person doesn't want the help, and they're forced to go to therapy, it's probably not gonna help them. If anything, it's gonna be the opposite. It's just gonna traumatize them. So I think you have to be in a mindset at least where you're open to it, and I think it will help. So for me, I was not opposed to it. I, if anything, was just scared of having a negative experience because I had had a negative experience in the past. So that was my headspace, you could say. The main things I ended up going to therapy were to focus on my ADHD, PTSD, and anxiety, and those are just like the three like general things. There's a lot to it. With anxiety and like my PTSD and all that, first of all, I heard ADHD like worsens your PTSD or like makes you more likely to have one or the other. So they kind of went together, but like negatively towards me. So within all that, I was having panic attacks. My self-esteem was super low. I was isolating myself a lot. Those were the point where I kind of felt like I had no purpose. Like I relied on others to feel like motivated, I guess you could say. So I kind of just wanted to work on all of that. And I will say that therapy helped me with a lot of that. It specifically with my trauma, because that is, I think, the number one priority for me is just working through my trauma. And since this is my first year back in therapy in, I'd say, over a decade, I didn't want to just kind of tackle my trauma right then and there, like start getting into all the details and all of that. I more so wanted to talk about the side effects that trauma caused me, feeling unloved, like all that stuff that it caused me. So I think I did a lot of work with that. I'm not past it all. I still have more to uncover and to just keep on working on it. I think this is a daily thing where I always have to be working on it so my progress could, stay up there. The number one thing for me was loving myself and to not isolate myself, so be more social and stuff like that, because I am a social person, but it's hard for me to make connections. So that was what I was working on, and I did great. Especially I was able to push myself out of my comfort zone and just like throw myself in any situation, and it really worked out for me. So this past summer, I put myself into lots of situations where there's brand new people, and I could have just sit back and kind of like kept to myself, but I wanted to again, put myself out there. So I talked to a lot of people, I made new friends, and then for like my self-love journey, I made a better connection with food, like a better relationship with that. I learned to not be so negative on myself and to just have more like positive talks with myself, like have affirmations that are positive. And something new that I wasn't really going into therapy for, that it helped me with, was just being more understanding. I feel like I am very mature and I'm an understanding person, but it really helped me, especially when I'm frustrated and I want to be stubborn. It helped me get past that and just try to like see other people's perspective and see where they're coming from. And in no way do I mean this from like any part of my trauma, because that is like, there's like a solid wall right there where I am not gonna forgive people, I'm not gonna understand people for that. So there's that's that. But I had a bit of like it's just like when I fight with my siblings, stuff like that. That's another reason why I feel like therapy was really helpful and why I'm gonna keep, therapy, is because there's like new situations, new things that get on my mind that I want to bottle up, but I have therapy every week where I'm able to let it out, hear an unbiased perspective, and solve this issue. So I feel like some people could keep the strategies the therapist provides and work with that and no longer need the therapist. For example, I could, instead of having a therapist, use my support system, family, friends, talk to them, and or use like my journal, distractions, all of these like things that I learned to cope with stuff. But I just don't feel like I'm there yet, and I'm going to need an unbiased perspective, and it's just something that I feel like I'm always gonna need. So that's just my opinion, but I feel like some people don't need therapy forever. But I feel like the main question for a lot of people is if therapy is a scam, and in my perspective, it's not. I just think it's been really helpful to me. And I feel like in my life, there's always things coming up, or like triggers and stuff like that, where I just need a space that's directed for that. So that's like, I guess, my opinion on all of that. Now I'm gonna go into my last session, and soon enough I'm gonna have to start over and reopen to another person, which is probably the hardest part, is just opening up. But yeah, and that's gonna be another journey. So I hope you guys gained something from this video. As always, you're important, you matter, and you're loved. Bye, guys.